Use your time wisely because every moment counts. In a small, bustling village tucked between rolling hills and meandering rivers, there lived a boy named Rohan. Known far and wide for his laziness and lack of ambition, Rohan had developed a reputation for drifting through life with little purpose. He spent most of his days lounging by the riverside or taking long, aimless walks through the fields. His family had tried countless times to ignite some spark within him, urging him to consider his future. But Rohan's response was always the same, a dismissive shrug and a promise to start tomorrow. Rohan's days were filled with distractions. From the warm sunlight streaming through his window to the playful rustle of leaves in the breeze, everything seemed to invite him to procrastinate just a bit longer. As his friends grew older, many of them found work. Some even traveled to neighboring villages, bringing back stories and skills that enriched their lives. But Rohan didn't seem to mind being left behind. In fact, he often laughed it off, claiming he was enjoying the present moment. Despite the constant advice from his family and friends to value time, Rohan struggled to understand its importance. His mother, a hardworking woman who tended to their small vegetable patch, would often remind him, "Time waits for no one, Rohan. It slips away quietly, and once it's gone, it's lost forever." His father, a carpenter, tried to impart the same wisdom by involving Rohan in small tasks, hoping to teach him responsibility. But Rohan always found an excuse to avoid work. One sunny morning, news spread through the village that a wise old man named Mr. Gupta had arrived. Mr. Gupta was known in many towns for his wisdom and his ability to solve people's deepest troubles. Some claimed he was once a renowned scholar, while others believed he had traveled across lands far and wide, gathering knowledge like grains of sand. His mere presence in the village sparked excitement among the villagers, and soon crowds gathered to seek his counsel. Rohan, intrigued by the commotion, asked a few of his friends about the old man. "They say he has the power to change lives," one friend whispered with wide eyes. "People claim that just one conversation with him can open your mind." Curiosity tugged at Rohan, and though he rarely went out of his way for anything, something about Mr. Gupta drew him in. After all, Rohan had always harbored a small, hidden curiosity about life beyond his lazy existence. Later that day, Rohan found Mr. Gupta sitting beneath the shade of a large banyan tree on the outskirts of the village. The old man's gaze was calm yet penetrating, and his face carried a gentle smile that seemed to hold years of untold stories. Rohan approached him hesitantly, and with a respectful bow spoke, "Sir, I've been told that you possess great wisdom. Can you please guide me on how to make the most of my life?" Mr. Gupta studied Rohan for a moment, noticing the weariness in his eyes that hinted at an inner struggle. Nodding knowingly, he reached into his worn leather bag and pulled out a delicate hourglass, small yet filled with fine golden sand. He held it up to Rohan, the sun catching the glass and casting a warm glow. "This hourglass," Mr. Gupta said softly, "symbolizes time. Each grain of sand represents a precious moment in your life." Rohan took the hourglass, feeling its weight as he watched the sand trickle down in a steady stream. There was something hypnotic about the slow, deliberate movement of each grain. "Imagine," Mr. Gupta continued, "that each grain falling through this hourglass is a wasted opportunity. Every time you procrastinate or let precious moments slip away, a grain of your life disappears forever." The words struck Rohan like a wave, washing away his usual nonchalance. He had never thought of time in such a way. "But sir," Rohan stammered, "how can I change? How can I learn to value time?" Mr. Gupta's smile grew gentle. "It begins with small steps, my boy. Set goals, even if they are small. Break your tasks down and focus on completing them one by one. Discipline doesn't come overnight, but with effort and persistence, you will learn to manage your time and eventually your life." Returning home, Rohan held the hourglass tightly in his hands, feeling as though he were carrying the weight of all his unrealized dreams. He decided to take Mr. Gupta's advice to heart. The next morning he woke early, a rare occurrence for him, and began organizing his day. He set small goals for himself, from helping his mother in the vegetable garden to assisting his father in the workshop. At first, the process felt unnatural, even frustrating. He missed his leisurely hours by the river and found himself longing for the days of doing nothing. But every time he felt tempted to give in to his old habits, he would glance at the hourglass, reminding himself of the value of each grain of sand. Gradually, Rohan began to see changes in himself. He became more focused, completing tasks he had once neglected. He learned the value of dedication and the satisfaction that came from hard work. His friends noticed the change, and though some teased him about his newfound discipline, others began to admire his transformation. Months passed, and Rohan's commitment to his new life deepened. Villagers who had once dismissed him as lazy now marveled at his dedication. He started sharing Mr. Gupta's wisdom with others, particularly young children who were just beginning their journeys. Some of his friends even sought his guidance, curious to know how he had changed so profoundly. One day, a young boy approached Rohan by the riverside, the very place where Rohan had once wasted countless hours. "Can you teach me how to make better use of my time?" the boy asked shyly. Rohan smiled, recalling his own journey. "It's not easy, but it's worth it. Start by appreciating every moment you have, just like you would treasure each grain of sand in an hourglass." As the years went by, Rohan continued to grow in wisdom. He developed close bonds with the villagers and cherished the time he spent with his family. He realized that time was not just for accomplishing tasks, but also for nurturing relationships. His love for his family deepened, and he made a habit of visiting friends and helping those in need, understanding that every moment shared was a precious gift. Rohan found joy in the small moments, laughing with friends, sharing stories, helping his father in the workshop, and sitting beside his mother in the quiet hours of the evening. Time, he realized, was a resource that could be used to strengthen bonds and build memories. As Rohan grew older, he became a respected figure in the village. People sought his advice, and he was often seen under the banyan tree, much like Mr. Gupta had once been. Rohan shared his journey with the younger generation, urging them to cherish every passing moment. His story spread far and wide, inspiring many to rethink their relationship with time. For generations, the village remembered the transformation of Rohan, the once lazy boy who had grown into a man of wisdom. Under Mr. Gupta's guidance and through his own perseverance, Rohan had not only changed his life, but had also touched the lives of those around him. And so, the village thrived, its people reminded daily of the fleeting yet powerful nature of time. The legacy of Rohan and Mr. Gupta lived on, a testament to the transformative power of understanding and valuing the gift of time.